Welcome back to the Saga Gaming channel, and we're back with a mountain of updates. We have a very small update for the upcoming DLC for Elden Ring Shadow of the Erdtree, as well as a few DLC announcements to cover, one being Remnant 2 first ever DLC, the Awakened King, as well as Lies of P showcasing a bit of information about its upcoming DLC and confirmed sequel. There will be a lot of changes and balance patches coming to Lies of P, so that's going to be something to look out for. And speaking of changes, Lords of the Fallen does drop another update that covers a lot of issues going on in the game. It's pretty substantial, so we got a lot to cover. Let's jump right into it. So starting this thing off strong, we got information on the release of the Awakened King launching just over a week from the release of this video on November the 14th, 2023. For those of you who have not been keeping up with Remnant 2, this is a Souls-like shooter that's released earlier this summer. It's getting its first title DLC. This DLC features a new zone, the Forlorn Coast, a brand new archetype called the Ritualist, which is a status-based archetype, a ton of new weapons and gears to discover, as well as brand new bosses and plenty of quality of life updates like loadouts and more trait points. It's a pretty substantial DLC, which will run you $9.99, but if you have the Ultimate Edition, you get it for no extra charge. Honestly, if you're a fan of the Souls-like shooter genre, that is Remnant 2, I think you're going to be pretty happy because we got a pretty busy month ahead of us for this game. Speaking of being busy, the team over at Lies of P has been really busy, and they have announced some pretty huge news about the game. The first being a sequel is in the works, so we have a confirm that there is going to be a sequel. Obviously, there's no release windows or anything like that because they're, they probably just banking off the success of Lies of P, so they're like, hey, let's make another game. So yeah, there's that. We also have some news for the upcoming DLC and some screenshots showcasing what to expect. As you can see, there are some boat action, so it looks really cool. The team said that is just the tip of the iceberg. I hope that's not a Titanic pun. But we have a lot that's going to be coming for Lies of P, so the team is really enthusiastic about it, so it's really nice. I feel like sometime during early next year is when we're going to see this DLC. This is pure speculation, don't count it as anything, but yeah, really excited to see it. They've been doing a lot of stuff. They also have a new balance patch for weapons that will drop later on this month in November, so it should be targeting the weapon assembly system, making some skills a bit more usable earlier on, and as well as adding some new costumes. The Lies of P team is absolutely killing it. They had a really nice release this year. They're already in the works of a new sequel as well as a DLC, and honestly, the game is looking great. I haven't finished my playthrough yet because I'm still playing Lords of the Fallen, so I need to get on that very soon. With that in mind, the Lords of the Fallen did recently drop another update, and it's a pretty big one. The first being something a lot of players have been talking about, and that is the PvE versus PvP balance. Now, the team has been taking a lot of feedback, and I gotta commend them, they're really good about this, but they've taken feedback and said that they're going to be dividing the balance between PvP and PvE. Now, this is important for a lot of players, including myself, because I hate when PvP content affects PvE content, and I don't ever see how anyone can think PvE based content that is Souls-like games is ever balanced for PvP. I don't understand it personally, but this is a great move for the team. In addition to that, spells will be getting some mana cost reduction. In my opinion, a lot of the spells in the game need a lot of love beyond just the mana cost reduction, namely the fire spells, which are actually some of the spells on this list that's going to get some mana cost reduction. But there's so many mobs in the game that have a ton of fire resistances that honestly fire feels very lackluster in the game. I can easily give them a solution, just basically add an upgrade catalyst that gives them like the ability to pierce certain resistances, and that fixes a lot of your problems. Or you can just have it built into upgrading the actual catalyst itself. I'm just throwing some ideas out there, but looks like the team is tackling it and getting it underway. On top of that, we did get some information about a content roadmap, so we are going to be getting some new content in the near future. I'll have a link to a video that gives you a little bit more in depth. This is Noonie. They are a Lords of the Fallen content creator, so go show them some love. They go a little bit more in depth than I'm going to do in this video, so go check them out. And finally, they're going to be giving us some chunks and some vigor, like drops and stuff that we missed out on because there were some bugs going on in the game. Again, in that video, we'll detail where to go find that stuff so that you can get your upgrades and, get your payback. But yeah, that's going to be it for Lords of the Fallen. I hope the team continue to take feedback from players and continue developing the game, because honestly, that game has so much potential to be like a direct competitor to Elden Ring if they do it really well. Speaking of Elden Ring, we have a very small update, and I mean very small update. According to the From Software team, the game is developing rather smoothly. I know that's not a lot to go off of. I know it's gonna piss a lot of people off, but hey, that's all we got. And honestly, we're kind of like fishing here. We need something, right? Elden Ring's such a great title. But here's the thing, while that isn't the best update, I want the Elden Ring team to take their time and make sure that the game is adequate and really good. You know, From Software has always been pretty good about making the game feel impactful, the updates feel impactful, and I'm expecting the DLC to be at least half the size of Elden Ring itself. I don't know if that's too ambitious, but I feel like that's within the scope of From Software. With that said, we're coming to the end of the year, and there's going to be a lot of new games coming up. One is Black Myth: Wukong, that's a pretty big one. Also, we have Banishers: Ghost of New Elden. This is another Souls-like that's releasing in early February. So just starting off at the beginning of next year, we have two really solid games. I don't know when Black Myth is coming out, but I expect it early 2024. And then there's a mountain of Souls-likes that we're going to be covering on the channel that's going to be coming in 2024. So next year is going to be really busy with Wukong, with Elden Ring, and with all these other Souls-likes. I'm expecting a massive year in 2024. With that said, that's going to be it for this news update for all things Souls-like. Just keep in mind, if you want to stay up to date with all things Souls-like, leave a like as well as subscribe to the channel, because I'm going to be giving you guys these updates pretty regularly. With that said, thank you guys for watching, and I'll see you in the next update very, very soon. Later.